Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a little different than what I normally do. Not as different as my last video because my last video was my dorm tour, but it's still going to be like similar to like topics about books, but it's not specifically about books that I'm reading. It's actually about my writing and books that I'm trying to write. So I do writing as like a hobby. I really enjoy just being able to, whether it's writing stories or just generally like writing out my feelings and stuff like that. I really enjoy that. And I'm not like an English major or anything. Like I have literally like no like credentials of like, oh, I'm really good at writing. It's just this is what I personally do when I write and it works for me. So I kind of wanted to share a little bit about that, but then also share like what I'm currently working on and how I'm doing that and what my plans are for like the future and everything. So that's what today's video is going to be about. I hope that this is something that will interest you because it interests me, and like I said, I watched a YouTube video about it and it really interested me, and so I'm hoping that that video can also like this video can also interest you like my other videos do. So that's what today's video is going to be about, so let's get into today's video. Okay, sorry if you can hear my AC in the background. It's literally like right here on the windowsill. And I tried to turn it off and I do not know how to work it, so it's going to stay on for the video. I'm going to try to talk louder so that hopefully it's not too noticeable, but I do apologize for the AC sound going on probably in the background of this video. But anyways, back into what this video is really about, which is my writing. Basically, I read mostly romance with some fantasy involved, and normally that fantasy is like fantasy with romance like in it. So I definitely do write more romance than I would write fantasy, but that doesn't mean that I don't have an interest in writing fantasy. I definitely feel like doing that can almost be more fun than writing romance because you really just get to create this whole new world and everything, but it's also a lot like more work and effort to put into because you do have to create this new world versus a romance where it's like you can kind of just make it how like your world is and just you add these characters and their different storylines and etc. So first, when I start writing, I have to figure out like what genre do I want to write. Do I want to write romance? Do I want to write fantasy? Those are just the two I normally go with, but there are obviously way more genres that you can write. So the book that I'm currently working on is a romance. I definitely think it's gonna be more of a new adult romance than a YA. But that could change depending on when I start writing. Do I feel like I want these characters to be more of a YA character book, or do I want it to be more of a new adult, you know, character? They are going to be set in college, so that's why I also feel like new adult is just better for that, you know, age range. But obviously I'm a new adult myself, so like I'm not the most, what's the right word, like I don't have as much experience in the new adult world versus the young adult world, except for what I've read in the new adult genre, so I don't know. We're still figuring out exactly what route we want to go with that, but it probably won't be like super YA, even if it is kind of more YA. Like, I definitely don't want it to read like, you know, for 12-year-olds when they're based in college. Like, I want college students to be able to like read it and like enjoy it. So that's kind of what my book currently is gonna be, is a romance. And when I first started like writing, like I had to figure out like a lot, and it goes into a lot of different planning processes. Basically I make like a Google sheet and I kind of just blurt out a lot of stuff, like a couple sentences, a paragraph. It just kind of depends how I'm feeling about like what I want the story to be about, and then like from there I try to like make it a little bit more detailed. You know, like I keep doing those, like I don't like what the right word is, but like I can start with like a sentence, then I make it into 2 sentences, and then I make it into like 4 sentences, and then like a big paragraph, and just continuously getting more detailed so I can kind of see where like my brain thinks the story should go. And then after that, like picking characters and their names, which I'm not gonna lie, I hate picking names for characters because I'm like, it's so easy to base it off people you know. Like, you're like, oh, that name, and you're like, wait, but I know someone with that name, and I don't want them to think I'm writing it. Like, so I don't know. For me, picking names is always really hard, but I think that the names I picked for these characters, I think they're good, so I'm pretty excited about that. Then after I pick character names, I have to pick like settings, whether that's like college campus or like the state. You know, my book has where it's being, like the state that it's in, and you know, okay, this is the college name and everything, which also trying to figure out a name for a college. Like I don't want to just say they go to a college in that state, because then like I feel like if I say stuff about, you know, whether it's the landscape of the college or like what's going on at the college, and if it's not actually like true to the actual university, I feel like that would like annoy me if I read that. Like for the school I go to, if I was reading a book about it and it wasn't accurate to what the school was, I'd be like, well, this isn't true. So I kind of just created a whole new name for a university that would be in that state. And really just a lot of like planning goes into the beginnings of my books. I don't normally just sit down and write, but I do have a notebook that I use that, I mean, I literally just like jot down stuff in. Like I think of something and I don't want to forget it, I'll write it down. Literally, when I tell you that I have the last lines of the book already written, because it just like, it came to me and I was like, that's what I want the end of the book to be. Like those are the last lines. They're perfect. I want it. So I wrote them down. Haven't even written the rest of the book and I had already had that. So, you know, just stuff like that that comes up that I'm like, oh, that would be a really, really good thing to put in this book, or that's a good plot line, or that's a good plot twist, or, you know, whatever it is, I write those down in my journal. Well, my notebook, it's not really a journal, it's a notebook. But on my computer, I have a Google Sheets that I have a bit more like organized. Like, okay, this is the character's name, this is their age, their birthday, what their major is, what they're doing, you know, all these different things, so that I really know, okay, this character has this personality, this character has that you know, it makes it easier to write. So that's kind of the process that I take at the beginning before I start writing the book. Once I have all of that pretty much done, or I feel like I have a lot of it done, then I kind of go into summaries of each chapter. So I'll be like, okay, chapter 1, this is kind of what I want to happen in chapter 1. Chapter 2, this is what's going to happen in this chapter. So I can kind of space out like what I'm going to want to talk about. And then once I'm done with that, I can see, okay, I have this many chapters in my book, and then I go into actually writing the book. And so when I do that, from what I've heard from different authors who have self-published, because they're the ones that I see talk more about like their writing process, which is kind of how I got, you know, inspiration and influence for mine. They talk about like, don't edit until you're done writing the whole book. So my plan, at least for this book, is not to like really edit much until I've completely written the book, and then go back through and like change stuff. Obviously, because I mean, I'm not perfect and I have, you know, my own school that I have to do and everything. I don't always have time to write, so it can be sometimes like weeks before I get back to writing. And in those instances, I tend to have to reread what I wrote so that I know exactly what was going on, whether it's in the character's mind or in the like story, in the plot itself. Because even though I do the summaries, obviously when you're writing and you just really get into it, things can kind of change. So if I did that and I found like minor mistakes, I would edit those, obviously. But I mean, like, if it, sometimes when I read, like I reread my stuff too early, it can kind of be like, hold on, page, like you just gotta let it flow. And I'll like second guess myself and think, oh, that sounds stupid or whatever, and then I'll change it, and like the book just doesn't progress. So my goal is to just not really edit until I've written a whole like manuscript book, or whatever you want to call it. When I'm writing the book as well, I also tend to listen to music that I feel like kind of relates to the characters, or like things that I want to relate to the characters, and normally those songs will like go into the playlist, because I love when I read a book and there's a playlist in like the front of the book, or sometimes they put it at the end, but I like when they're at the front. So I do create playlists for my books, whether that's like, oh, this song played in a scene in the book, or this song reminds me of the characters or the couple, or whatever. So I do tend to listen to music while I write so that I can kind of also get that inspiration. But yeah, I do currently have a book that like I said, that I'm in the midst of writing right now. I'm working currently right now on the chapter summaries. And I really do like the idea. I don't think it's 110% fully like, wow, I've never read a book like this before. Like, no. But I feel like for me, my first like real book that I'm writing, I feel like it's good to kind of base it off things that I know do well. And so I am doing a romance. The trope that I currently am working with, obviously if I'm not liking it, I can change it, but I'm planning on making this book a series. And so the first book, I'm planning on making it brother's best friend. So I personally love that trope, so I felt like it would be really fun to write that trope. So that's my goal for this first book, is to make it that trope. I don't want to say too much more about it because like things can easily change, and I don't want to be like, this is what it is, and then like months from now if I'm bringing it back up being like, well actually it's this now. But I feel like the trope probably will stay unless I like writing it and I'm like, I really don't like this and I want it to be this instead. But if that did happen, I would update you guys and like let you know. Finishing the book though, like that's gonna be a while until that happens. But I know that people like self-publish their books, whether that's through Amazon or some other self-publishing website. But I also know people who publish their books on like Wattpad, so that people can read it. I know a book that I was writing a little while ago that actually I'm keeping the title of that book to make it the title of this book, but I'm completely changing the plot. Because I really liked the title, I just didn't like the plot that I was writing. Like, I started writing it when I was like 16 and I like just started picking it back up recently and I was like, I don't like this, I want to restart. So that's why I did keep the title, but I completely changed the plot. But I am thinking about maybe posting like chapters on Wattpad, but I'm not 100% sure. You guys can let me know if you're interested in that. I probably would wait. Like, I wouldn't just post like, okay, chapter 1, okay, then chapter 2, because I have no idea how consistent I would be with my writing. But maybe once I had like, okay, 5 chapters, I'll post it. And then maybe every time I write 5 chapters, I'll then post the next 5. You know, I don't know. I haven't fully decided yet. But if you guys would like to see the process of my writing, and like obviously I'd be posting like the unedited versions, like you'd be reading it and there'd probably be typos and grammatical errors. Like I said, I'm not an English major, like, and I took like regular English in high school. Like, I'm not super great at knowing like where every comma is supposed to be and everything like that. So, you know, if you read it and you were like, this is kind of not grammatically correct, like, you don't have to be like, this sucks, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's all just a draft. But if you would like to kind of read along as I'm writing and seeing what my brain is trying to come up with, I would be happy to post those on Wattpad. I don't know. I haven't fully decided if I want to do that or not yet. So you guys can let me know down below if that's something you'd be interested in or not. But I do think once I finish it, if I truly feel like it's good, if I've written it and I'm reading over it and I'm like, it's just kind of average, it's not great, I feel like it's not gonna be a big hitter, I'll probably just keep it for myself. But if I do think that it's good and that there might be people, whether it's 10 people or 100 people or 100,000 people who would enjoy it, then I would probably self-publish it, whether that's doing it through Amazon or doing it through another, you know, self-publishing website. But I'm not going to get too much into that right now because that's like a whole other video you could make about how to do that, and I haven't done that before, so I don't know all the steps for that. But if you are looking for that, there are a ton of TikTok videos, because I have looked into it already, that give like really great detail on like what to use, how to do it, all of that. So yeah. The book that I'm currently working on, like I said, I'm planning to make it a series. I think right now I plan to have it be 3 to 4 books, so I guess technically you could call it a trilogy if it's 3 books, but I feel like, I don't know, when I hear like trilogy, I always just think of a fantasy book, but obviously that doesn't mean that it has to be fantasy just because it's a trilogy. They're for sure 3 books, like I can think of 3 characters that I would write about, but I feel like I like the idea of it being 4. I mean, 4 is like my favorite number anyways, so I feel like that just would be like a whole little like great way to like wrap it up and just be like, okay, 4 books. But I'd have to figure out what character I'd write about, and I do have ideas, but I'm not 100% sure. But I'm really excited about it. I am having a really good time writing it, and like I said, I mean, literally if 10 people read it, that would still make me happy. Like, I'm doing it because I enjoy writing. I'm not doing it because I'm trying to like make a living off of it. Okay, so that was my video. It was probably another semi-short video. I mean, I definitely did a lot of talking, so I don't think it'll be as short as the video I filmed last week, I think it was, which was my dorm tour. But I do hope you enjoyed this video. I do plan on my next video being my TBR for September, which how are we almost in September? I don't understand. I don't even know how August is almost over. I don't know how I'm in college. Like, I just finished my first week of classes. I don't know how that's possible, but here we are. But I do plan on making my TBR for September, my next video, and then after that would be my August reading wrap-up like I always do. I will say though, I have a really, really exciting thing to share with you guys, and I would love to share it now, like I really do, but I'm waiting for it to actually be in my possession before I share it with you. So it should be here by my next video. And let me just tell you guys, I don't think I've ever been so happy about something in my life. Like, I still can't believe that this happened. And so I can't wait to share that with you guys next week, or if, honestly, if it came tomorrow, I'd probably film the video tomorrow and post it. So whenever it decides to show up and I film my TBR, that's the video it'll be in. So if you guys want to know what I'm so like happy and giddy about, you will need to come back to see that video. But I will say, I don't think any of you, if you're watching my videos, you probably like romance books. I don't think any of you will be disappointed by what I have to share, is all I will say. But like I said, if you want to see my writing and you want to read it, let me know down below, and I will be happy to, once I have some more stuff written, start posting stuff on Wattpad for you guys to read. And even if you guys read it and you want to comment and be like, oh, I really like this, or hey, maybe this would be a good idea, like, I wouldn't totally mind taking inspiration from some of your guys' ideas and maybe trying to incorporate it in things, because I feel like as a reader, when a writer is making a series, sometimes you see a character and you're writing it, because this is happening before, like, where you're like, oh, I love these characters, but this side character is so good and I want to see them have their own book. And maybe that would be something that would happen in my book, and you guys would be like, oh my goodness, I want them to have their own book, and it could create a whole new inspiration in another book to the series. So if you guys are interested in that, just let me know down below. If you have any specific videos that you would like to see, whether it's writing based or reading based or really just anything that you guys would want to see, you can comment that down below. But yeah, that is today's video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope it all made sense. I hope you all hear me over my loud AC. Like, I maybe will try to film in a different part of my room next time, but as you saw in my dorm tour, it's a very small room. There's really only so much space for me to film. So unfortunately, this might just be a common occurrence, but I really hope that you can hear me over it. But anyways, yes, hope you enjoyed. Hope you guys are having a great day. I will see you guys next time. You know, like, comment, subscribe, all the usual stuff. We are at 29 subscribers, so we're almost at 30, which for some people might be like, okay, that's literally nothing. But to me, that's a lot, and I am very happy about that. And I'm appreciative of all of you who come back and watch my videos and like it and all of that. So thank you. I will see you guys next time. Bye!